Hola, clase. This is Senora Deneen here. I'm having a really hard time sharing my screen within Jigsaw, so I'm recording it in a different platform. But I wanted to share a little bit of information with you all about the final exam. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at the student view of the Spanish 1 class. And if you look on the right here, you're going to see some final exam information, Thanksgiving break information. If you look at this, you'll notice that this is an announcement. So the class announcements, if you were to click on those, have a lot of different resources when it comes to things like conjugating verbs or the verb Sarah star that we learned, some chiste, which is a joke, Halloween announcement that I've shared. But then there's also things that are very important, like final exam information. So I wanted to share this information with you if you haven't had the opportunity to read through it yet. You have a lot of time to take the final. There's 2 weeks. However, it is a one-time deal. That means there's within this 2-week time frame, you only have one click to open and begin and complete and submit. So that means you cannot open the final exam and then close out of it and then reopen it later. It just does not work like that. But from the time that you open it, you have it'll tell you how much time you have remaining until it's due. I believe it's 90 minutes. And you have to complete it by Thursday, December 10th at before midnight. That's when it's due. After that, the final exam actually closes, so you will not be able to open it anymore. Do not take the final exam until you have completed all the assignments in the course, as mastery of these concepts is necessary for success on the final exam. That means let's make sure that we get through all of the modules of Spanish 1 before we take the final exam, because it would be silly to think, okay, I'll go ahead and take the final when you haven't done the last chapter of Spanish yet, because you won't know that content. How do I study? So many opportunities for how to study here. You can retake vocabulary quizzes. You can check missed quiz questions or test questions, and you can complete the grammar practices within the content. The content of the modules is where you click through the various pages for your grammar notes, vocabulary notes, practices, and then all of your assignments. After you have learned the grammar, there's typically a grammar practice exercise within that content. And then when you take those, you can submit, and then it'll show you the answers that you got correct and incorrect. The same thing goes for your checking the missed quiz or test questions. You can open up the quizzes and tests that you've completed and then read through the answers that were incorrect. That is going to help you practice the concepts that you missed the first time around. And one of the other very common questions that we receive is, when do I get my final grades? So when do I know how I performed on the final exam, and then how I ended up doing overall? What was my final grade? And that is going to be the following week after the final exam. So the final exam is due December 10th, and then grades available December 17th. I will share a news image for how to view the final exam grade. So if you go back to the announcements, you're going to be able to see that shortly. How do I find the final exam? I click on modules on my left navigation bar, and I scroll all the way down past all of the chapters that we've worked on in this class. And then I take the final exam. You'll see here that it's closed until November 28th, so I'm not allowed to click on it. I'm trying right now, it's not working. But on November 28th, I will be able to click on it and I will be able to take the final exam. Many students have asked what to expect and what to anticipate. It's going to be a lot like the quizzes and the tests that you've been taking this entire semester. It's just going to be consolidated because there's so many things that we've covered. You're going to get a couple questions from La Ropa, a couple of grammar questions. You're going to see some vocabulary from Rutina Diaria, and then you're going to see some questions about conjugating reflexive verbs. So it really is just a mix of everything we've covered, 1 or 2 questions per concept. Again, if I'm struggling at all, what I would probably do is I would open up the quiz and tests that I've taken and just see what I got wrong on those quizzes and tests. That'll help me determine what I should be studying. And if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Gracias y adios.